light candles for us. Thank you. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. Okay.
I'm getting ready to kindle light.
There you go.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushani mitzvani halel neo shel Shabbat.
Let us say, Amen.
Amen.
Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to invite Robin up next to lead us in Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'atzavanu v'shabbat kadsha b'ahava uvratzon hinkilanu zikaron le'maaseh v'reshit ki hu yom tehila lemikra kodesh zecher letziat mitzrayim kivanu v'chata v'yotanu kidashta b'kol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha v'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Amen. L'chaim.
All right, folks, let's continue on page 127, and we'll read together in English. There are days when we seek things for ourselves and measure failure by what we do not gain. On Shabbat, we seek not to acquire, but to share. There are days when we exploit nature as if it were a horn of plenty that can never be exhausted. On Shabbat, we stand in wonder before the mystery of creation. There are days when we act as if we cared nothing for the rights of others. On Shabbat, we remember that justice is our duty and a better world our goal. So we embrace Shabbat, day of rest, day of wonder, day of peace. I'm going to continue forward to page 130 for Psalm 95. Lechu neranena l'Adonai, Nariya litzur yishenu, nekad mafanav betodah, bizmirot nariya lo, nekad mafanav betodah, bizmirot nariya lo, ki el gadol Adonai, umelech gadol al kol Elohim, asher beyado mechkerei aretz, v'toafot harim lo, asher beyado mechkerei aretz, v'toafot harim lo. All right, folks. I won't tell you what page to turn to at this point because what I want to do a different song tonight. Usually we do Lecha Dodi. Tonight I want to do a different song, a different poem from about the same time and from the same kind of genre of Kabbalistic, welcoming Shabbat kind of songs. This is Yedid Nefesh. I can't tell you what page to turn to in the book because in our book we only have like the first 4 lines of the song and you can't really sing it to that. So I kind of filled it out on the slides, so you'll have to bear with me on this. So feel free to join in with me if you know it. And we're gonna try it out a couple of times over the next little while and see how that goes. So the tune goes like this. Yedid Nefesh Yananai av harachaman meshoch avdecha el ratzonecha yarutz avdecha kemo ayal yishtachave el mul hadarecha Yedidutecha mino fetzuf vechol ta'am hadur nahe yananai ziv haolam nafshi cholat avatecha Beharot la noam zivecha as titchazek v'titrape v'ha'itala simchat olam v'tik yahemuna yadanai rachamecha v'chusana al bein ahuvecha ki ze kama nichsof nichsaf lirot b'tiferet uzecha ana eli chamdat libi Sana ve'alti talam higalena yana yufros chaviv alai et sukat shalomecha ta'ir eretz mikvodecha Nagila v'nismecha bach maher ahuv kivamoed v'chonenu ki me'olam yadadai-dai-dai-dai yadadai-dai-dai-dai yadadai-dai-dai-dai-dai-dai-dai Yada-dai-dai-dai-dai, yada-dai-dai-dai-dai, yada-dai-dai-dai-dai-dai-dai-dai-dai, yada-dai-dai-dai-dai, yada-dai-dai-dai-dai, yada-dai-dai-dai-dai-dai-dai-dai-dai, yada-dai-dai-dai-dai, yada-dai-dai-dai-dai, yada-dai-dai-dai-dai-dai. All right, so that's Yedid Nefesh. We're going to try doing that every once in a while now. Let's move on. Now I can give you a page number. This is page number 140 for Psalm 92, Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbat. Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbat, Tov Lehodot LaHadonai, Ulzamer L'Shimcha Elyon, Ulzamer L'Shimcha Elyon, Lehagid Baboker Chastecha, Ve'emunatecha Balelot, Alei asur v'alei navel, alei gayon bechinor. Mizmor shir liyom haShabbat, tov lehodot lahadonai. Ulzamer l'shimcha elyon, ulzamer l'shimcha elyon. Ki simchatani Adonai befolecha, memasei yadecha ranein. Magodlu maasecha Adonai, meodam kumakshavotecha. Mizmor shir liyom haShabbat, tov lehodot lahadonai. Ulzamer l'shimcha elyon, ulzamer l'shimcha elyon. All right. And finally, we'll turn to page 142 for Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei HaMlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei HaMlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bachuni l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei HaMlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzitchem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei HaMlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. All right, folks, we're turning now to page 145, and let's read together in English. Entrances to holiness are everywhere. The possibility of ascent is all the time, even at unlikely times and through unlikely places. There is no place on earth without the presence. Let's turn now to page 146, and I'll invite you to rise with me if you're able and comfortable doing so for the Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach leolam va'ed. All right, feel free to have a seat. We're turning now to page 149, and let's read together again in English. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Hamariv Aravim. Going to turn to page 150 now. Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta, Otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shachbeinu uvkumenu נשיח בחוקיך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך, ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד, כי הם חיינו, ויארך ימינו, ובהם נגה יומם ולילה, ועבדך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו Yisrael. Let's turn now to page 152, and again I'll invite you to rise if you're able and comfortable doing so for the opening of the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Please feel free to have a seat. And we'll continue on 154. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol miodecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha ukshartam laot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot beineinecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha Lemahan tizkaru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'item kedoshim le'elohechem Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot nachem le'elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem Emet. Let's continue on page 157, and please read with me again in English. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. Page 158. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh, nora tehilot osei fahela, malchutecha ra'u vanecha, Bokei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, ze li'anu ve'amru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, v'nemar kifad Adonai et Yaakov, u'ge'alom yad chazak mimenu, Baruch atah Adonai gal Yisrael. All right. Let's turn to page 161 now, and we'll read together in English. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. Turning now to page 162. Yismechu v'malchutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malchutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Mekadeshei Shvi, Mekadeshei Shvi Shabbat. Kulam yizbehu veyitangu mituvecha Shabbat. Yismechu v'malchutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malchutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. V'hashvi ratzita bo v'kidashto Shabbat. Chemdad yamim oto karata Shabbat. Yismechu v'malchutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malchutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Zecher lemaseh v'reishit Shabbat. Zecher lemaseh v'reishit Shabbat. Yismechu v'malchutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malchutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. All right. We are turning now to page 164. And again, I'll invite you to rise, if you're able and comfortable doing so, for the Amidah. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Page 166. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, Vezocher Chastei Avot Ve'imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Umoshia Umagen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham V'Ezrat Sarah. Ata gibor leolam Adonai, mechayem etim ata rav lehoshia, morid hatahal, mechalkel chayim bechesed, mechayem etim berachamim rabim, somech noflim verofei cholim, umatir asurim, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישוע, ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים. Feel free to have a seat if you'd like. We'll turn to page 171, and let's read together in English. Days pass, and the years vanish, and we walk sightless among miracles. God, fill our eyes with seeing and our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence, like lightning, illumines the darkness in which we walk. Help us to see wherever we gaze that the bush burns unconsumed. And we, clay touched by God, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder, how filled with awe is this place, and we did not know it. Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. Let's read together on page 173. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu b'Amcha Yisrael, Utfilatam be'ava tekabel, Utahil ratzon tamid avodat Yisrael amecha. El karov lechol korav, panei alvadecha v'chonenu, shefoch ruchacha aleinu, v'techazena einenu b'shuvcha l'tzion berachamim, baruch atah Adonai, amachazir shchinato l'tzion. All right, folks, we're on page 176. And as we do for the blessing of Thanksgiving, we'll give people a chance to, if you want to, raise your hand and share something that you've experienced, a blessing in your life, or something you're feeling particularly grateful for this week, and we'll get the mic around to you. We'll begin together in English with this English up here at the top of the page, and then we will feel free to raise your hand if you've got something you want to share. So let's read. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more we offer thanks. And if you'd like, just raise your hand, we'll get right to you.
I'm thankful to see the hummingbirds, the orioles, and the grosbeaks back in my backyard again.
Yeah, we've got about 50 million cardinals hanging out by us.
I'm very grateful 2 of my granddaughters are graduating college next weekend, and I can see it on Zoom.
That's exciting. Mazel tov.
With the improvement of the weather this week, I managed to get out for more walks outside than I think I have all winter. So that was wonderful to be able to walk out, look at the sky, rather than walking around inside my house.
I'll throw in one. I had a chance today to have a talk with a friend of mine who I hadn't had a chance to speak with for several months. And it was just always really lovely to reconnect with a friend. It put me in mind of a saying I believe was attributed to Confucius, how pleasant it is when good friends come from afar. And it was just a really good, that's something I'm always excited to do. I'm not ever able to see the entire group of people on Zoom at once, but I don't see any hands up. Okay. How are we doing in? Yeah, there we go. All right, folks, we'll finish up at the bottom of the page. Baruch atah Adonai hatov shimcha, ulcha na'eh lehodot. We'll continue on page 179. Let's read together in English. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai hamevarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. We'll take a moment now for our own personal prayers and reflections, and we'll come back together in a moment with Oseh Shalom. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imeru amen. All right, folks, let's turn forward now to page 371 for our Misha Berach, our healing prayer. This week, the congregation is praying for Raphael Aliyetti, David Ben Esther, Terry Bennett, Thomas Brophy, Tom Brown, Louis Calcetera, Tegan Christofferson, Keith DePan, Lou Ellen Egan, Lauren Furman, Sandra Gutman, David Hecht, Sheila Hickok, Sarit Katsu, Reverend Rebecca Kindig, Sharon Kirschheimer, Helen Lewis, Jim Mason, John McFeely, Rowan Nicciolino, Jeremy Orden, Manny Orden, and Robin Orden, Maxine Oringer, Ken Roberts, Jim Rosenstein, Sherry Schwartz, Shmuel Emmett Ruvain Mibet Avraham Visara, Jennifer Stile, Rabbi Lance Sussman, Liz Sussman, Timothy Swindell, Dick Watanabe, Rhonda Waxman, Elena Witter, Phyllis Young, Eugenia Zaroli, and Yeager Zopp. And if anyone would care to add someone's name to our healing prayers tonight, just raise your hand. We'll get around to you in a sec.
I can add Marie Torto.
Thank you.
Rose Hamilton.
Thank you.
Jay Sevo and Carrie Kane.
Thank you.
Joan Wagner.
Thank you. Misheberach avoteinu Makor habracha laimahotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach imotenu Mekor habracha lavotenu. Aleinu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Praying for a refuah shalema, a complete and speedy recovery to all those that we're holding in our hearts this evening. All right, gonna take off the screen share for a couple of minutes, share a little bit of Torah with you all tonight. We've got a double parsha this week, Parshat Tazria and Mitzorah. There's a verse here from, I believe, Mitzorah, goes like this. You shall put the Israelites on guard against their uncleanness, lest they die through their uncleanness by defiling my sanctuary which is among them. This verse speaks to the basic function of the Levitical priesthood as it was understood by the priests themselves. Most biblical text scholars seem to agree that the book of Leviticus was probably a priestly source, right? It's a piece of biblical text that was probably written among the Israelite priesthood and probably reflects a priestly viewpoint. So from that standpoint, from the standpoint of the priests themselves, their function was to conduct the rituals, engage in the maintenance and oversight of the sacrificial system in such a way as to avoid the sanctuary's contamination with tumah. This is a term which in Hebrew roughly translates to ritual defilement, right? It's not physical uncleanliness. It's a kind of spiritual schmutz that needs to be kept away from the temple at all costs. What's clear from reading the book of Leviticus is that the sanctuary's presence among the people was seen as a common good, a source of blessing and protection from evil for the community as a whole. It could also be a danger, however, if not properly attended to. One way of understanding the story of Nadav and Avihu that we read last week in its original context is as a cautionary tale for young priests about the dangers of improper ritual procedure. Do it wrong, and this could happen to you. A useful analogy in this regard is to look at the sanctuary as like a nuclear power plant. It's tremendously beneficial if properly maintained, and it's extremely dangerous if not. The job of the priest in this analogy is akin to that of a technician, responsible for keeping the system running smoothly so that the people as a whole will benefit. This is the book of Leviticus's rather prosaic and impersonal conception of divine service as a kind of public utility. The danger inherent in any such system is paradoxically how boring it all is. There's absolutely nothing exciting or dramatic about the minutiae of proper sacrifice and ritual purification, in the same way that it takes a very special sort of person to be inspired by the details of bridge maintenance, or public vaccination, or the electrical power grid, or the administration of the voting system. But whenever people get to thinking that that sort of uninteresting work may in fact be unnecessary, well, that's when things start getting exciting and dramatic pretty darn quick. Not to put too fine a point on it, but the utter chaos of the period that we're living through right now has filled me with a great appreciation for the Levitical priests of this world. The people whose job, whose calling maybe, is to make life just a little bit more boring. by keeping the number counter on the sign reading "days since the last workplace accident" from flipping back to 0. I sometimes think that where we may have gone wrong as a civilization is related to not holding people like that and the work that they do in higher regard. When I see people going out into the streets to stand up on behalf of Social Security or Medicaid or the Postal Service or the FDA, that is what I see, that kind of regard. And it makes me glad, even as I mourn the circumstances that make that kind of public action on behalf of the boring institutional stuff of our society necessary. I see the stirrings of a renewed interest in the role that institutions play in our lives and the value those institutions hold for us personally, even when that value isn't always so evident until those institutions and structures start to break down. In about a month, this congregation is going to be coming together for our annual meeting to vote on new officers and attend to what the blessing calls tzorchei tzibur, the needs of the community. I think this is a good time of year to reflect on the role that communal institutions in our immediate community here at Temple Concord, like the board, like committees, like sisterhood and brotherhood, play in our congregational life. And maybe to think a little bit about how you might get more involved in contributing to and maintaining the life of the temple. It isn't always the most glamorous work, that kind of Levitical scut work, but it's extremely darn important. And so the two questions I have for us to reflect on tonight, if you'd care to voice a comment, are these. Question one is, how do you relate to this priestly conception that we find in Leviticus of God as a kind of public utility that needs to be maintained? What does that concept of the divine do for you, or not do for you? And question two is, what is an institution or public good that plays an important role in your life, and why do you think that it might deserve more attention and appreciation? Okay, so those are my two questions. If you care to comment, just raise your hand. We'll try and get the mic around to you.
I'm not sure I think of God as a public utility. That's sort of a little out there. I'm going to have to ponder that a bit to get to that. But I do see the importance for those people who do the kind of jobs that seem boring, repetitious, but otherwise, if nobody's testing our water, we don't know that we have clean water, and people can get sick. When people start talking about, yes, all the FDA, all these stupid little rules and stuff that people have, they don't remember back before those rules when sausages had sawdust in it. Anybody who's read Upton Sinclair's The Jungle, or my grandfather never told me exactly why, after working for a butcher when he was a kid, he would never eat hot dogs for the rest of his life. But I assume that butcher put stuff in that no one would want to have. So it does make a difference for what we have. I actually remember an interesting case when McDonald's first put out its nuggets. It didn't tell it what was in it. And then when they made them do it, they changed what they put in it to white meat because they were putting garbage in it. So having those listings, looking at someone who's had to watch her diet and pays attention to what ingredients are in something, that really can make a difference in our lives. Yeah.
No, yeah, it's true. I mean, in our family, we've got a couple of pretty severe food allergies among the group, and we rely pretty heavily on those labels about what's included and not included in food, being correct, and that's something that ordinarily we tend to rely, kind of trust implicitly, and to think about, like, what if we couldn't trust those things it's kind of scary. Yeah, thank you.
This is on a smaller scale, but I used to work as a lab manager in like a research lab, and my whole job was data entry and standardized testing, and then training other people to do data entry and standardized testing. And so I have a very deep appreciation for the people who can do stuff like that their whole lives, because it was such an important aspect of that research lab, and it is so difficult.
Thank you. All right, folks, I'm not seeing any other hands up online or in the room, so I think we'll wrap it up there. Thanks, folks, for your comments. And let's open the Siddur back up again here. We're going to turn to page 587 now, and please rise with me if you're able and comfortable doing so for the Aleinu, and I'm going to invite Rabbi Rachel up to open the Ark. Oh, thank you. You're already. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol lateit gedula liyotzer b'reshit shehu sam chelkeinu liyached et shemo v'gor aleinu lehamlich malchuto v'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim Lifnei melech melkei hamlakim hakadosh baruch hu. Please feel free to have a seat. And we'll continue on page 591. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol ha'aretz bayom ha'hu Bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo, u'shemo, u'shmo echad. All right, Mourner's Kaddish is located on page 598. This week, our congregation is remembering the yahrzeits of Miriam Resnick, Dorothy Goldberg, Janice Choll, Louis Burke, Jeremiah Hazen, Adam F. Stallman, David Greenberg, and Esther Rosenberg. Please rise if you're able and comfortable doing so for the Mourner's Kaddish. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah Bi'alma divrach irutei v'yamlik malchutei b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael Ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehe Shemei Rabba mevarach le'olam ulolmei almaya. Yit barach v'yishtabach v'yit pa'ar v'yit romam v'yit naseh v'yit hadar v'yit aleh v'yit halal Shemei dekudsha barichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata da'miran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehe shalama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Ose shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru amen. And may their memories be for a blessing. Feel free to have a seat. Gonna hit you up with a couple of quick announcements here. So here we go. Tomorrow morning, Torah study at 9:15 a.m. as usual. But 10:30 a.m., we've got the Shabbat service. It's kind of a special Shabbat service because it's the last Shabbat service of Hebrew school for this year. And it's also, so it's a kind of an opportunity for the kids to kind of show off what they've been learning. But it is also a special service in honor of Karen Hammer, who is retiring from our religious school. She's been a part of it for, I believe, about 30 years, which is a good long chunk of time and a good chunk of Temple Concord members and former members who were trained by her over the course of those decades. And there will be a luncheon in celebration of that moment for her and her service after services. So encouraging people to come to that. Sunday, the Sisterhood Rummage Sale is on between 10 a.m. and ends at 2 p.m. And then after that, on the same day, this Sunday, at 3 p.m. from 3 to 4:30, Interfaith Broome County, a organization of which Temple Concord is an important component, is holding a meet and greet and eat in our social hall here. So there will be snacks. It will be a chance to hang out and chat with some other folks in the Binghamton, Broome County interfaith community. There will be some interesting discussion questions to kind of help break the ice. It'll be a cool thing and a real great opportunity for coming together and showing some solidarity and getting to and building some bridges and connections between ourselves and other religious communities in the neighborhood. Book Club is meeting this Tuesday, May 6th in the morning at 10:30. Adult education, as usual, is happening on Wednesday night, followed by Sisterhood board meeting. And then next Saturday evening at 6 p.m., we're having another community board game night. We're trying to do this maybe like once a month or so. We didn't do one in April because, Passover kind of got in the way. But we're doing another community board game night. So there will be pizza, there will be salad. Come bring a board game, or if you don't have any board games that you like, come and bring yourself, and there will be board games there to play with people. And we had a good time last time, and hope to see some more people there. For other stuff coming down the pipe, obviously, as usual, keep an eye out on Neirot and on our weekly email. But that's the news here for the next week or so coming up. We're going to finish up on page 626. We're going to do Ein Keloheinu tonight as our closing song. Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kemalkeinu, Ein Kemoshienu, Mi Keloheinu, Mi Kadonenu, Mi Kemalkeinu, Mi Kemoshienu, Nodel Eloheinu, Nodel Adonenu, Nodel Malkeinu, Nodel Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu. All right, folks. Motzi it is. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Shabbat shalom, everyone. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Good to see everybody.
Yes.